morning, November the 9th, 1994. 80 degrees weather, and we're at Alice Van Cleef's home on 2614 Grand Avenue in Glenwood. She's 88 years old and born in 1906. Where were you born, Miss Van Cleef?
The upstairs bedroom.
In the upstairs bedroom. Oh, what?
I had two sisters. One was an adopted sister, and then my own sister.
Yes.
And they didn't know my mother was going to have a baby, because in those days they hadn't talked about the fact that I was coming.
Nothing to mention it, is there?
So
That's hush hush.
they heard me crying, and I came in the world before the doctor got here. So he was there to finish up the job. So it was in the upstairs room, and I always heard about it from my older sister,
Yes.
who was surprised by the fact that I had come, because they thought babies came from storks, I guess.
Right. What was your parents' name?
What was
your parents' name?
my father's name was Elmer S. Van Cleef, and my mother's name was Nina Booth Van Cleef.
Right. And so you were the third child, is that correct?
And I had a brother by the name of Clinton, an older brother, and an older sister, Anna, and then the adopted sister.
Yes.
But she was here before I was born.
Uh-huh. Well, since we're talking about you being born here in this house, how long has this home been here? What year was it built?
Well, my mother and her brother, who was a carpenter, of course, Mother couldn't do any carpentry, but she helped with the money. She painted paintings and sold them to help buy the material for the house. And it was built over a whole long period of years.
Yes.
See, like this porch was widened later.
Yes.
And but the house, the framework of the house, was put up in the early, probably 1870s or 80s.
Oh, a long, long ago. What's your first remembrance of DeLand? When you think back,
Going to school.
Going to school?
I could hardly wait to get in to school, where I would go to DeLand School. We had a country school out here in Glenwood.
Yes.
Just a one-room school.
Yes.
But I wanted to go to DeLand to school. And my brother and sister were already in. They went to what is now the old, well, it used to be the junior high school, the brick building up the corner.
Yes.
That's where I taught when I taught in DeLand.
Yes. Well, you graduated from DeLand High School?
Yes.
And then where did you go to college?
Stetson
University. Yes.
I lived at home and went to school at Stetson.
Uh-huh.
And I graduated with a regular BS degree, and then I got an MS degree in chemistry. That's why I taught chemistry every chance I got in high school.
Yeah. Do you remember what your tuition was? Do you remember what you had to pay?
Well, I can't. I don't remember.
It's been too long.
Mm-hmm. It was in 26 or 27, and long in that time.
Yeah.
And Stetson would know, I know.
Right.
I worked in the chemistry lab, but I did not get any assistance for scholarship for it. I just did it for the training I would get when I was having to teach.
Yeah.
I taught physics one summer in college, and then I was assistant in the chem lab for several other years.
So you were interested in chemistry at a very early age,
Oh, yes.
Is that correct?
Ever since I had a chance to take it.
Oh, yes.
And I taught it for 7 years in Pearson. Of course, I had to teach all the sciences, not just chemistry.
Yes.
And even taught agriculture up in Pearson.
Well.
I taught 7 years in Pearson.
Uh-huh. How many years did you teach altogether?
42.
42 years. Oh, my. Do you remember any of your teachers? Do you remember any of your school teachers or any
Oh yes,
That were special?
I taught with a lot of them.
that were very special or
They
outstanding?
were special. Holden and let's see. I was trying to think of a history teacher. Well, there's Anna Mae Keene, and
Yes.
she was teaching
yes.
when I was, and of course Betty Ford Hutchins.
Oh, yes. I know all of them very well.
They were top teachers.
Yes. And you were too.
Well,
How I remember you at the high school.
a
I
lot
remember
of
you.
kids said they remembered that they took something else because they're afraid they couldn't pass physics, but I liked the chemistry best, so.
Do you remember any of your classmates that stand out in your mind that were?
Well, Helen Dutton Rhodes and Elizabeth A. Cree
Yes, yes.
and Alice Skelton.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the going to school when I was
Right.
going, and I was trying to think. There were some of the Strawns. They were living in DeLand at that time.
Yes.
But you see, I had to go back and forth on the bus. So the bus went in from Glenwood to DeLand to school. So I didn't get to go into that for basketball or things like that. I would have loved to, but I had to come home and milk a cow, and that had to be done every night.
Right. They're always waiting, aren't they?
We always had a cow, and the pasture was right across the road from here.
Uh-huh.
But of course, that was only for about maybe 10 years we had a cow.
Did you have any other animals?
Oh, we had always chickens and all kinds of country animals, yeah.
Yes. Well, what was downtown like many years ago?
Well,
What do you remember?
needless to say, I had a very good appetite, so I would remember the cafeteria, that when we have saved and saved and saved, we'd have enough to go for the cafeteria for lunch at noon. If we brought a note from our parents saying we could leave the school grounds.
Yes.
We weren't supposed to leave the school grounds, which was that corner of Rich and Clara.
Rich and Clara, yes. Yes.
The old red brick building. That was where I went to high school.
Yes.
And I taught in that school, in the basement, in the back. My first year of teaching was in Pearson, but then I got a job in DeLand right afterward, and so my second year of teaching was in DeLand. It was senior high school then, because they did not give chemistry and physics until the junior and senior year.
What about the merchants in DeLand? Some of the stores. Do you remember anything special?
Mr. Ford had a cloth shop. What do you call it? A dress material.
Yes.
And there was Mr. Haynes,
Uh-huh.
Fred Grass.
Yes.
He wasn't quite as early as some of the others,
Yes.
but Haynes grocery store was well known.
Where was this Haynes grocery store? Do you remember? What street was that? Where
Right
was
on the boulevard.
Boulevard and
right where probably, I would say, right about where Allen Summerhill.
okay.
Not Allen Summerhill, Allen Drugstore along in there.
So that was on the main street, yes.
On the main street.
See, this was before my time. I don't really remember that, and so it's very interesting.
There was a cafeteria run by I guess it was Florine Gilliland's father had a very nice cafeteria right on the main street, right along there where the jewelry store is.
Yes.
Now there's a jewelry store in there. Right at maybe there was a bowling alley there. In other words, it was pretty close to the corner of Rich and the boulevard. I mean, not Rich, but what's that main street goes through there?
New York Avenue, maybe?
No, farther down, to the north of that. The second street from the north. There was New York Avenue, then you came to Rich is the next one over.
In Wisconsin?
It's right along in there is where the cafeteria was.
Yes.
It was the largest one, and even when they had the old College Arms Hotel, that was a swanky place, and we used to have our graduation parties there.
Oh,
They'd let us go, and I can remembering the depth of the pile of the carpets as we'd walk in. That was something that we got to have our senior party at the College Arms, so it was really something.
Because everyone didn't have wall-to-wall carpet like they do now, did they? That was
we never heard of it. I mean, it was just, we felt really swanky when we walked in for our party.
Right. And I guess everyone dressed up with gloves and hats and...
Well, not for our party. We did have party shoes and wore white gloves,
Yes.
but I can't remember, except we tried to wear our best dress.
Well, parties are always fun, aren't they? And especially such a beautiful place to have it.
It was lovely.
Where did you buy groceries? What store did you go to buy groceries?
Well, of course, Glenwood had a grocery store out here.
Yes.
So only as we needed something from town, there was Drika's department store, there was Allen, the drugstore, Allen's drugstore, and of course the funeral home was, Allen Summerhill was there. In fact, I guess Jim Ed Summerhill worked with Allen Summerhill before it was changed the name to Allen Summerhill.
Right.
Because he said that Mr. Allen put up with him. He was kind of a mischievous person, Mr. Summerhill was. And that's how he happened to get into one realized the other had the potential. And so there's always been an Allen Summerhill, I guess. But it wasn't until the boy that I went to school with got sort of settled down that he was asked to be part of the Allen Summerhill part.
Well, thinking about grocery stores and all, what about your food? What did you have meat every day, or did you was eating different?
We had chickens, and a lot of people had ducks and things, but we just had chickens. And
so you
eggs and milk, and eggs and milk were all you needed.
And so you grew your own, had your own meat rather than go to the store usually to buy it, or did you?
On weekends, we'd go to the store and get a regular, like a roast. Or, in fact, when I was real little, there was a meat wagon that had a cloth cover over it that came from Mr. Jones down into Lynn, drove through, and the women would go with their empty pans out to choose the piece of meat they wanted, and he'd cut it right out there outside that gate. Of course, every home had a fenced yard.
Yes.
Because you couldn't, I've often wondered why dogs didn't, jump up into the truck, but because it was a great big covered wagon type of thing.
Well, was it refrigerated? Did they have ice or what?
I know, they just had to keep, you took it, when the way it was here, when it came, you used that.
So you cooked it in a hurry. You couldn't keep it.
You went right straight in and started cooking.
Well, that's so interesting. I just never...
They only came once a week. But of course, my dad had a little automobile, one-seated, that had a bar for, to steer it. And it was one of the first cars here in Glenwood, Murray. And there were 2 or 3 others in DeLand, and my dad almost had to have one because he was manager of the big lumber mill down called Bond Lumber Company.
Yes.
And as long as I can remember, he had to was managing that as long as he was able.
Well, what about Christmas in this home? Did you have a Christmas tree?
Always.
Always?
Right in the corner of the living room was our Christmas tree place. And
Did you go out and buy it, or did you, what did you
no,
do?
we would cut it on our own land.
Uh-huh.
There were always shortleaf pine, and we'd always get the shortleaf. And you'd go, it was open, nobody had fences or anything. You could go anywhere you want to and pick a tree for a long time, but then gradually they fixed it so you couldn't go and get one like that.
Mm-hmm. What about your decorations on the tree? What did you
We
have?
made our own, that is, paper, chains of paper.
Mm-hmm.
We made them at school. The teacher would teach us new ways, and we made stars and all sort of things. And of course the school and the church were very close. In fact, the school met where the church, or the church met where the school met. They were vice versa because they were all one in the same building, and that's how one was just very close to what the other was doing. It wasn't a separation of church and state. In other words, the teacher, however religious or whatever she wanted to emphasize, she could do it. I mean, and we made decorations for home as well as for our schoolroom. That's a little church that's up here. It was founded in 1888.
What was the name of the church? What?
Glenwood Presbyterian Church.
Glenwood Presbyterian.
It's always been under the Presbyterian. However, we've had other ministers than Presbyterian.
Mm-hmm. Well, what about back in the 30s, during Depression time? Do you recall anything during
Just
that?
hard times for everybody.
Uh-huh.
And people lost everything they had when the banks failed. In fact, my dad lost even his salary for the next month because Mr. Conrad, who owned the Conrad Lumber Company, asked the men not to deposit their checks because he knew they would be frozen. They couldn't. You get some percentage of them sometime, but Dad went ahead and he and several other men went in and deposited their paycheck, but we never got it because the banks closed and they never reopened it. I think we got something like 5 cents on a dollar for nobody. I mean, everybody was in the same boat. Everybody lost the same, and if they were on a salary, they were lucky. If not, I mean, they just had to trust whoever they were being hired by that they'd someday get their pay.
Well, you've worked with so many children. I'd love to know how many young people you've taught.
I haven't any idea.
You have no idea.
I never figured it out.
But
At Pearson, the school was, I taught there 7 years in Pearson. And I taught John Smiley, and he became the county superintendent.
right.
But he knew more ways to shoot a spitball than any boy I ever knew. But I often laugh at that he became eventually the school superintendent. That was John Smiley.
Right. What do you think about our children of the future? What do they have to?
I think they have a wonderful opportunity, and I hope that they get hold of people that will inspire them to get all the education they can and not wait until later and wish they'd stayed in school to get it.
Well, Miss Van Cleef, I've really enjoyed visiting with you and talking with you, and I'm looking forward to looking at your Valentines that you wanted me to see in the house.
Okay.
So we're going to go in there, and I'm Betty Van Allen, and it's just been more than a pleasure to be with you because I think of you back years ago when I was in DeLand High School.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it, and I'm sorry my voice is kind of hoarse this morning.
You've done beautifully today, and thank you so much.
All right. Well, thank you.